I really thought that if I worked hard, stayed patient, and did everything right, success would just follow. But life doesn't play by those rules, and I had to learn the hard way through setbacks, disappointments, and moments that made me question everything, including myself. And if you ever felt like you're doing all the right things but still not getting anywhere, welcome to the club. Looking back, I realized there were 10 hard truths I had to experience, accept, and learn. But the good thing is, they completely changed how I see work and life. And if you're watching this, I hope this gives you the clarity I wish I had back then. There was a time when I thought that putting in effort and delivering strong performances was enough to climb the career ladder. But then I noticed that people who didn't necessarily work the hardest got ahead, and while those who did were left behind. It was frustrating to watch and it felt unfair. The reality is, fairness isn't a rule of life. The sooner you stop expecting things to be fair, the sooner you can focus on what actually moves you forward. Adapting, positioning yourself better, and learning to play the game smarter. And instead of getting in this isn't fair thinking, which only leads to undervaluing yourself and self-doubt, ask yourself, what can I actually control? If someone less talented got ahead, find out what they did differently. Was it better timing? Did they just put themselves in the right place at the right time? Let me tell you, I got passed over for an opportunity I thought I had earned. And of course, at first I was frustrated, but instead of staying bitter, I took a step back and looked at what the person who got the position did differently. Turns out they had built better relationships, were always networking and positioned themselves as the obvious choice. That was a wake-up call. Life doesn't reward fairness, it rewards those who understand how to navigate strategically. I also hold on to so many things in life. Missed opportunities, past mistakes, and especially people. I used to think that if I just put in more effort and tried harder, could make things work. But some things aren't meant to last, no matter how much effort we put in. Some things and some people come into our lives for a time, but they are not meant to stay forever. I spent too much time pouring energy into things that weren't working. Jobs that no longer aligned with me, friendships that drained me, and opportunities that were really never mine to begin with. And every time I refused to let go, I kept myself stuck. But here's what I learned. Letting go isn't losing. It's choosing to move forward and knowing when it's time to walk away, even when it feels like leaving a part of yourself behind. Real strength isn't in holding on, it's in recognizing when something no longer serves you, gives you true connection, or aligns with your value. If something or someone is keeping you stuck instead of helping you grow, it's time to move on. That's not giving up. It's making space for something better. At some point, we all face a realization that nothing stays the same. And the more we resist change, the harder life feels. Just think about now how much has changed in the past decade. Remember when working from home was the exception, not the norm? Or when social media was just a place to connect, not a whole career? For years, I held on to old jobs, old habits, and even old version of myself because change felt uncomfortable. I kept telling myself that staying where I was felt safer and more predictable. But what I didn't realize at that time was that clinging to what felt familiar wasn't keeping me safe. It was holding me back. I find myself stuck watching others move forward while I remained in place. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I wasn't willing to adapt. The moment I stopped resisting and started adapting, everything changed. I no longer felt like life was out of my control. I realized that how I respond to it made all the difference. Here's something to remember. The world doesn't stand still. It moves with or without you. You can't control everything, but you can control how you respond to change. And once you stop viewing it and start adapting to it, you'll notice things don't just get easier, they get better as you allow yourself to grow. Now think about your own life. Where are you resisting change? What's one thing you're holding on to even though deep down you know it's time to move forward? I used to say, I'll do it later, all the time. I kept telling myself I'd start when I felt more ready, when I had more experience, or when the timing was right. And what happened? Days turned into months, months into years, and before I knew it, I was wondering where all the time had gone. The truth is, the longer we hesitate, the more time we lose. But the moment I finally stopped hesitating and took action, I realized I had spent more time waiting than actually working towards what I wanted. Now you might be thinking, yes, Son, you're right, but life isn't about rushing or forcing things. And I agree. But if you're always waiting for the perfect moment, ask yourself, How much longer are you willing to wait? There's no perfect timing. You don't get ready by waiting or worse, procrastinating. You get ready by starting. It doesn't have to be big. You can start small, what I like to call mini steps. Send the email or make the call you've been putting off for days or weeks. Every moment you delay is a moment you never get back, because time won't wait and neither should you. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today. Also, everything came before my health, work, responsibilities, ambitions, and even connections that ran good for me. I thought I could just keep going, believing that my sacrifices today would pay off tomorrow, but eventually my body made it clear. It didn't care about deadlines, goals, or how much I had achieved. When you neglect your health, the consequences show up in ways you can't ignore, whether it's in feeling constantly drained, struggling to focus, or getting physically sick. These effects don't happen overnight, but over time they can make even the simplest tasks feel impossible. Your body and mind are the foundation of everything you do. Without them, nothing else matters. It's not just about avoiding illness, it's about building habits that nourish you physically and mentally. Small choices like getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, eating nutrient-rich food, exercising, and managing stress can make all the difference. Take care of yourself today in whatever way that means for you, because you can't achieve anything meaningful in the long run without your health. It's the most valuable foundation in life, and without it, nothing else will truly matter. I thought that saying yes to everything, always being available, and trying to make everyone happy was the key to gaining respect, and most of all, being liked. I believe that if I gave enough of myself, people would like me more and I have more friends. But all it did was leave me drained, undervalued, and feeling like I had nothing left for myself. I remember constantly overcommitting, saying yes to extra work or helping others, even when I didn't have the energy. I convinced myself that if I said no, I'd disappoint people or seem selfish. But in trying to please everyone, I was neglecting my own needs. And without realizing it, I was teaching others that my time wasn't valuable, that I was desperate for people to like me. Only when I stopped trying to please everyone and started setting boundaries did I finally take back my time, energy, and self-worth. Protecting my well-being wasn't about pushing people away, it was about making sure I had something left for myself. By saying no when necessary, I created space to say yes to what truly mattered, like finally prioritizing my own goals, focusing on real connections, and no feeling guilty for needing time to recharge. The reality is, not everyone deserves access to your time and energy, and that's perfectly fine. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they are about protecting your peace, teaching others to value your time, and most importantly, helping you value yourself. I spent too much time trying to keep up with others, matching their speed, replicating their success, and pushing myself to do more faster and better. I thought that if I just move at the same pace as everyone else, I reached the same level of achievement. But all that effort led me to exhaustion, frustration, and a sense of emptiness. And even worse, I started to question my own worth. Self-doubt crept in and I began wondering if I was good enough, if my values and action even mattered. Anxiety about whether I was on the right track constantly consumed me, like, oh, this guy has more success, more money, and more recognition than me, and I've been grinding at this for a year, and so on. The list never ends, thanks to the comparison hustle culture. But fulfillment isn't about outpacing those around you. It's about moving forward at the pace that feels right for you. It's about knowing your own rhythm and honoring it. When you stop comparing your journey to others and start trusting your own path, that's when true growth happens. You will not only appreciate the sight along the way, but you'll also move forward with clarity and purpose. Stop racing and start living at your own pace, because your journey is the destination and it's uniquely yours. When things didn't go as planned, I started overthinking and got discouraged, thinking that every rejection or missed goal wasn't just a setback, but proof that I had completely failed as a person. It left me questioning my worth, my value, and whether I was even cut out for success. But looking back, I realized rejection was never the end. It was always the beginning of something better. In fact, many of the best opportunities I've had in life only came because something else didn't work out. Whether it was a job I didn't get or a personal goal I failed to achieve, I now see that each of those setbacks pushed me in a new direction I would haven't gone otherwise. For example, when I didn't get a particular job I thought I was perfect for, I felt devastating at that time. But months later, the opportunity that came my way because of that rejection was far more aligned with my goals, and it was the turning point I needed in my career. So if you're facing rejection or a setback right now, Trust that it's pushing you toward something better. Every setback is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply, and I truly believe, the universe redirecting you towards your true path. I've had moments where I thought that money, status, and success would bring me fulfillment. I worked hard, chasing the next big thing, believing they were the key to feeling complete. I realized that no matter how much I have, I can't buy purpose, self-worth, or true fulfillment. Money is a tool, it's not a destination. Yes, it can open doors and provide comfort, but it doesn't offer the deeper sense of meaning that we all seek. I spent so much time chasing things I thought would bring me happiness, only to discover that true fulfillment comes from within, not for external accomplishments. It was a tough lesson, especially as someone who has always been driven. But I learned that success isn't just about what you achieved, it's about who you are and the purpose you live by. Real happiness comes from inspiring others through what we do, building meaningful connections, and living in alignment with our passions and true self. Take a moment and ask yourself, what really matters to me and what small steps can I take today to align my life with those values? Negative thoughts controlled my actions for far too long. Whatever I wanted to do, I told myself I wasn't good enough or thought, I don't think I can do it. And those thoughts shaped my mindset until they became reality. The more I fed my brain with those limiting beliefs, the more I began to doubt myself. And all of this led me to feel stuck, hesitate to take action, and in the end, I was trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and going nowhere. It took me a long time to realize that if I wanted to break free, I had to stop letting those thoughts control me. But I also learned that changing my thinking alone wasn't the solution. It was just a part of it. It was also about what I fed my mind and exposed myself to. Toxic media, unhealthy work culture, and the people I surrounded myself with. They all shaped my mindset and influenced how I saw the world and my own abilities. But when I replaced all those negative influences with ones that encouraged growth, things started to shift. My actions got bolder, my mindset changed, and I finally felt more connected to who I really am and what I'm capable of. And if you feel stuck, take a step back and look at what's around you. And ask yourself, is what I'm consuming helping me move forward or keeping me stuck? The more you choose things that strengthen and challenge you in a positive way, the easier it becomes for you to break free from doubts and start creating the life you want. These were the 10 hard truths, and if any of them resonated with you, maybe it's time to start seeing things differently too. Growth starts with awareness, and now that you know, the choice is yours. And if you're wondering how to redefine success in a way that truly aligns with you, don't forget to subscribe and check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there.